Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you earn. You earn it by living with integrity, discipline, and self-respect. If you have habits that chip away at those values, it's time to let them go. Because only when you stand firmly in your worth will respect naturally follow. Let me be honest with you. Most people won't respect you no matter how hard you try. You can pour your energy into others, bend over backward to please, and still be overlooked or underestimated. Why? Because respect isn't about what you do. It's about who you are and the habits you carry every single day. I learned this lesson the hard way. I used to believe that being nice, agreeable, and always available would earn me respect. The truth? I was just shrinking myself in other people's eyes. Real respect only comes when you cut out behaviors that diminish your value. I remember being stuck in a frustrating cycle, wondering why I wasn't taken seriously or why I always felt left behind. It wasn't until I started letting go of toxic habits like making excuses and constantly seeking validation that things began to shift. Respect didn't happen overnight, but the moment I stopped chasing approval and started respecting myself, everything changed. Here's the core truth. Respect starts within. If you don't demand it from yourself, no one else will. It's time to be honest and cut out those habits holding you back, once and for all. That's how you claim the respect you truly deserve. Habit number 1, making excuses. Let me be real with you. Making excuses is the quickest way to lose respect. We all do it, blaming traffic, a coworker, or just life getting in the way. Maybe your excuse feels justified. But here's the hard truth. Nobody cares about excuses. People respect results, not reasons. I used to live in excuses, showing up late, blaming traffic, or random events. I thought having a reason was enough. But over time, people saw me as unreliable. Friends stopped counting on me to show up on time. My boss stopped giving me important tasks. Even my family stopped depending on me as much. I was losing respect everywhere, and I didn't understand why. Excuses don't make you look responsible. They make you look powerless. They show you're not in control of your life. Nothing kills respect faster than that. Whether you're late because you overslept or traffic held you up, the result is the same. You weren't where you were supposed to be, and that responsibility lies with you. When I finally accepted this, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't the victim, I was the problem. Around me, I was constantly letting myself off the hook, expecting others to accept my excuses. Here's something both freeing and tough to hear. The world doesn't owe you anything. People respect accountability, not deflection. I remember one time after showing up late again and giving my usual traffic excuse, someone simply asked, "Why didn't you leave earlier?" That question stung, but it was true. In that moment, it clicked for me. Every excuse I made was me saying, I'm not responsible for my own life. How could I expect anyone to respect that? Here's the deeper truth. Excuses aren't just words. They're a mindset. They trap you in a victim mentality, always blaming outside forces for your setbacks. But the moment you take responsibility, everything changes. When I stopped making excuses and started owning my mistakes, people began to trust me again. It was like they could see the shift in how I viewed myself, and they respected that. No more excuses. If I messed up, I owned it. If I was late, I apologized. No stories about traffic or circumstances. People are far more forgiving when you don't try to wiggle your way out of accountability. They respect someone who says, "Yeah, that was my fault. I'll do better next time," much more than someone who keeps pointing fingers. It's not about being perfect. It's about being responsible. The takeaway? Stop lying to yourself before you expect others to respect you. Every excuse you make reinforces the idea that you're not in control of your life. And if you don't believe that, why should anyone else? Respect is built on reliability, accountability, and self-respect. If you keep hiding behind excuses, people will see right through it, and you'll never earn the respect you want. So next time you feel that excuse creeping in, catch yourself. Take a breath. Own the situation. Move forward. It's a tough habit to break, but once you stop making excuses, you'll be surprised at how much more respect you command, not just from others, but from yourself. Habit number 2. Being lazy. If you're lazy, let me be clear, nobody will respect you. And honestly, they shouldn't. That might sound harsh, but it's true. You can have all the potential, talent, and dreams in the world, but if you sit around doing nothing, none of it matters. People don't respect potential. They respect action. Laziness is the ultimate sign of wasted potential. I used to believe I could coast on my talent. I thought I could get by doing the bare minimum because I was smart enough to get decent results without much effort. But you know what? No one respected me for that. Sure, people might have said, "Oh, he's capable." But deep down, they didn't take me seriously. Why? Because laziness isn't about lacking ability. It's about lacking effort. And effort is what earns respect. I remember one moment that hit me hard. We were working on a group project. Everyone put in the work except me. I figured I could just show up, contribute a little, and let others handle the bulk. But when we presented, everyone's effort was clear, except mine. The looks I got afterward, the quiet disappointment, made it obvious. I had lost their respect. I didn't just let them down, I let myself down. It wasn't about the project anymore. It was about not pulling my weight. People could see it, and they lost respect for me. Plain and simple. Here's the thing about laziness. It's impossible to hide. You might think people don't notice when you slack off, but they do. They notice when you cut corners, avoid responsibility, or stop showing up fully. Laziness isn't just about skipping hard work. It's contagious. When you choose to coast, you drag others down with you. They stop expecting much from you, and that's where respect dies. When people no longer believe you'll put in the effort, they stop seeing you as valuable. Here's the deeper truth. Laziness is a form of self-sabotage. It's not just feeling tired or unmotivated. It's a mindset where you convince yourself that you can get by without real effort. But every time you choose laziness, you're choosing to stay small. You're telling yourself that comfort matters more than growth. And trust me, people respect growth, not comfort. I had to learn this the hard way. I thought taking the easy road was smart, that I could save energy and still get by. But here's what I didn't realize. Success isn't just talent or intelligence. It's persistence. It's hard work. It's dedication. The people who earn respect are the ones who push through discomfort, tackle the hard tasks, and show up even when they don't feel like it. Laziness is the opposite of all that. It signals you're not willing to push yourself. And if you're not willing, why should anyone respect you? You can't hide laziness. It shows in how you carry yourself, how you talk about your work, and how you approach challenges. People can tell when you're coasting. They can see when you're not giving your best, and it shapes how they treat you. If you're lazy, don't expect people to trust you with responsibility or look to you for leadership. Habit number 3, neglecting your personal appearance. Here's something many won't tell you outright. How you present yourself speaks volumes about who you are. If you neglect your personal appearance, don't expect respect. You might think it's superficial to judge people by their looks. On the surface, that sounds fair. But the truth is, your appearance reflects how much you respect yourself. And if you can't respect yourself, why would anyone else? I used to be like that. I thought, people should like me for who I am, not how I look. So I'd roll out of bed, throw on whatever was clean, and show up. I thought I was being authentic, but really, I was just being lazy. And it showed. People didn't take me seriously. I didn't command attention in meetings. I definitely didn't radiate the presence of someone who had it together. Then one day, I got a wake-up call. I showed up to an important event wearing wrinkled clothes, messy hair, just generally looking like I didn't care. And that's exactly the vibe I gave off, someone who didn't care. The moment I stepped in, I felt the difference. People didn't take me seriously. They didn't treat me with respect. Meanwhile, those around me who had put effort into their appearance instantly commanded attention. That's when it hit me. Neglecting how I looked wasn't just about me. It was about how others saw me. I was losing respect before I even spoke. Here's the deep message. Your personal appearance is a powerful form of nonverbal communication. It tells the world, I respect myself. I take this seriously. When you take care of yourself and present yourself with intention, people notice. It's not about expensive clothes or fancy brands. It's about the effort you put in, the message you send without saying a word. It's not about looking like a model. It's not about fashion trends or expensive clothes. It's about showing that you respect yourself enough to put effort into how you show up. That effort tells the world, I take myself seriously. I take this moment seriously, and I take you seriously too. Think about it. When someone shows up disheveled, unkempt, like they just rolled out of bed, what's the first thought that crosses your mind? Probably something like, they don't really care. And here's the reality. If someone doesn't take the time to take care of themselves, others subconsciously assume they won't care about their work, their relationships, or their responsibilities either. But flip that. When someone walks in groomed, put together, standing tall, there's an immediate shift. That person commands attention. People are more inclined to listen, trust, and yes, respect them. It's not about vanity. It's about self-respect. This was a lesson I had to learn the hard way. After that one moment where I showed up looking careless, I realized I was being treated the same way I presented myself, like I didn't matter. That was a wake-up call. From that day forward, I made a conscious shift. I started dressing with intention. I paid attention to grooming and small details. The change was immediate. People noticed. I was taken more seriously. But most importantly, I started to respect myself more. First impressions matter. Whether we like it or not, appearance is a major part of that. If you want respect, you have to look like someone who respects themselves. Neglecting your appearance sends a clear message. I don't care. And if you don't care, why should anyone else? So here's the truth. Taking care of your personal appearance is an act of self-discipline. It's a way to show up as the best version of yourself, not for approval, but because you know you're worth the effort. When you carry yourself with pride, the world reflects that energy back to you. Respect yourself first. The world follows. Habit number 4. Ignoring boundaries. If there's one thing that can quietly destroy respect, it's ignoring someone's boundaries. Boundaries are not optional. They're necessary. They're not walls to keep people out. They're signals of where comfort ends and discomfort begins. When you disregard them, intentionally or not, you send the message that someone's space, feelings, or peace doesn't matter to you. I had to learn this lesson, and I learned it the hard way. There was a time when I believed being constantly involved in someone's life was a sign of love and loyalty. I thought checking in every hour, offering advice without being asked, or inserting myself into someone's problems meant I was being a great friend or a caring colleague. But the truth is, it wasn't kindness. It was overstepping. It was too much. I remember a close friend slowly pulling away, and I didn't understand why. I thought I was helping, but in reality, I was crossing lines without realizing it. Then one day, she told me directly, "I just need space." It feels like you don't get that. That hit hard. I wasn't being supportive. I was suffocating. I had ignored her unspoken need for space, and in doing so, I damage the trust and respect we had. Here's the deeper truth. Respecting boundaries is one of the purest forms of respect. It shows you value the other person's mental, emotional, and physical space. It says, I see you, I hear you, and I will not push beyond what you're comfortable with. When you ignore boundaries, whether it's constantly over-texting, offering unsolicited opinions, or dismissing someone's request for space, you're saying, my needs come before your comfort. That's not connection, that's control. People remember how you make them feel. If you make them feel pressured, overwhelmed, or unheard, they will pull away and take their respect with them. Respect flows both ways. If you want it, you have to give it, starting with honoring the space others need. Let's be honest, who's going to truly respect someone who constantly crosses lines and can't read the room? But let's take this even deeper. Ignoring boundaries isn't just about being pushy or overbearing. It reflects a fundamental misunderstanding of what respect really means. Respect isn't just about being polite or saying the right things. It's about recognizing and honoring another person's autonomy. It's understanding that people have the right to their own space, to say no, to set limits, and that none of that should be taken personally. When you respect someone's boundaries, you're acknowledging that they're their own person, with their own needs, preferences, and limits. And when you can do that without trying to control, fix, or insert yourself unnecessarily, respect naturally follows. I had to learn this firsthand. I used to believe that constantly showing up, checking in, or offering advice, even when it wasn't asked for, meant I cared. But what I was really doing was ignoring the signals people were sending me. I was stepping in where I wasn't invited, and people noticed. Eventually, I learned to step back and give people space. I let them come to me when they were ready instead of assuming they needed me in every situation. And here's the interesting part. The more I respected their space, the more they respected me. Relationships grew stronger. They became more honest, more mutual, more grounded. Ignoring boundaries shows up everywhere, especially at work. Maybe there's a colleague who prefers working independently, but you keep pushing them for constant updates. Or maybe your boss values clear, direct communication, but you're overwhelming them with unnecessary details and overstepping their time. In these situations, it's not just a minor annoyance, it's a breach of respect. You're showing that you don't value their preferences, their time, or their working style. And over time, that erodes trust. Here's the deeper truth. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about keeping relationships healthy. Healthy relationships, whether personal or professional, are always built on mutual respect. And mutual respect starts with honoring the limits others set. Think of it this way. Every time you ignore a boundary, you're chipping away at the trust someone has in you. And without trust, there can be no real respect. People begin to pull away, distance themselves, maybe not with confrontation, but silently, gradually, until one day you realize you've been pushed out of their inner world. Why? Because they didn't feel safe with you. Boundaries are how people protect their mental and emotional well-being. And when you trample on those, even unintentionally, you send the message that you care more about your needs than theirs. If you want respect, start by learning to notice boundaries, spoken or unspoken. Don't take them personally. See them as an opportunity to demonstrate maturity, empathy, and self-awareness. When you do that, people will feel safer around you. They'll trust you more. They'll value you, not because you try to be everywhere all at once, but because you understand what it means to truly respect someone. Habit number 5. Taking credit for other people's work. Few things destroy respect faster than taking credit for something you didn't earn. It doesn't just cost you the respect of the person whose effort you overlooked, it damages your reputation with everyone who sees it happen. Taking credit for someone else's work is a dishonest and self-serving habit, and it's one of the quickest ways to lose respect. Not just from the person you wronged, but from everyone who witnesses it. Once that trust is broken, rebuilding it is incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible. This habit isn't just unethical. It's a surefire way to sabotage your reputation in the long run. I've seen it happen firsthand, and I'll be honest, it's something I'm not proud of. Early in my career, I was hungry to prove myself. I wanted to stand out, to get noticed, to build momentum. During a team project, I contributed, but one of my colleagues went above and beyond. When it came time to present our results, I carefully worded things to make it seem like I had done more than I actually had. I didn't lie outright, but I angled the spotlight toward myself and away from the person who truly deserved it. At first, it felt like a win. The praise came in. I was recognized. People were impressed. But here's what I didn't anticipate. The truth has a way of coming out. My colleague quickly realized what had happened, and so did others. The admiration I had soaked in turned to doubt. The enthusiasm in people's eyes became cautious. That moment of false recognition came at a high price. It was a painful lesson. Real respect doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from integrity, honesty, and giving credit where it's due. And here's the deeper message. When you steal credit, you're not just harming someone else. You're betraying your own potential. You're essentially saying, I don't trust myself enough to stand on my own. It's a reflection of insecurity, not strength. And if you build your success on that, it won't last. Because respect, at its core, is rooted in authenticity, and stealing credit completely undermines that. Think about the long-term damage. Once people label you as someone who doesn't share recognition, who manipulates the narrative to shine brighter, you gain a reputation for being self-serving. That's a hard label to shake. Colleagues won't want to collaborate with you. Friends will hold back. People will start keeping their distance because they know you're not playing fair. And I've seen this happen to others too. Incredibly talented people have lost promotions, relationships, and opportunities. Not because they weren't capable, but because they let ambition override their character. Here's the reality. When you take credit for someone else's effort, you're not just taking their work, you're stealing something far more personal. Their sense of pride, their moment of acknowledgement, their rightful place in the spotlight. And that creates resentment. Deep, lasting resentment. In the long run, those little moments of stolen glory come at a massive cost. You burn bridges you may never be able to rebuild. Because taking credit isn't just an oversight, it's a betrayal. It sends a clear message. I saw your effort, but I care more about my own success than honoring yours. And once trust is gone, respect disappears with it. People aren't naive. They can tell when someone is subtly, or not so subtly, trying to take more credit than they've earned. Even if they don't say anything in the moment, they remember. Over time, this behavior chips away at any respect you've built, and eventually it leaves you isolated. Now don't misunderstand. If you've worked hard and contributed meaningfully, you absolutely deserve recognition. Own your efforts. But also give credit where it's due. Acknowledge those who helped. Celebrate the collective success, not just your individual role in it. Here's the truth. Sharing credit doesn't take anything away from you. It amplifies you. It shows strength, not weakness. Confidence, not insecurity. People naturally respect those who uplift others. Leaders who acknowledge their teams. Teammates who point to someone else and say, "They did an incredible job." That kind of integrity is magnetic. It builds trust. It builds respect. On the other hand, success built at the expense of others, by downplaying their contributions to make yourself shine brighter, that kind of success is hollow. It might feel good in the moment, but over time, it leaves you with less than what you started with, because people will remember how you made them feel, ignored, overshadowed, or dismissed. Here's the deeper message. Real success isn't about hoarding the spotlight. It's about knowing there's enough of it to go around. It's about being secure enough in your own value that you're not threatened by someone else's. True respect is earned by those who are fair, honest, generous with recognition, the kind of person others trust, not because they're perfect, but because they're real, grounded, and ethical. So how do you fix this habit if it's one you've fallen into? Start by owning it. If you've ever taken more credit than you should have, acknowledge it. Apologize if needed. And make it right, publicly if possible. Let people know you value their contributions. Make it a habit to give credit freely and sincerely. You'll be surprised how much trust that simple act builds. Because in the end, the foundation of respect is integrity. Not appearance, not performance. Integrity. Taking credit for someone else's work comes from insecurity. But giving credit, uplifting others, and acknowledging effort, that comes from strength. That's how you become someone others trust, admire, and want to follow. And that's the kind of respect that lasts.